The masculine archetypes. Today I'm going to be going into the warrior archetype and talk a little bit about what the masculine archetypes are and how to maneuver through them. This is for the Purposeful Manhood membership call group that I've got coming and available to all the Wisdom Hut guys at this particular moment. Of course, I am Nakata, the author of Heart on Break, one-time photographer, and indigenous man. I love the idea of one day just disappearing, growing my own food, not needing anything from anyone. I'm like that. I feel like that too, literally. And the Purposeful Manhood call group, if you haven't heard me talk about it, it's a new, more dedicated group. And I want to invite a lot of the guys here in the Wisdom Hut to join over, and I'll be telling you more and more about it. It's almost ready to launch at this particular moment. As a matter of fact, it is launched. I got a couple of people in there already. Today's conversation about the masculine archetype of the warrior comes from the book King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. I think you already know that I definitely recommend this one. And this is one that I've had for many years. And the first time I picked this book up, I I I didn't know what to think of it. I really didn't get it. I thought it was boring. But the more history I learned in between time, the more I understood civilization, the places where they're getting these ideas from, where these cultural perspectives come from, the idea of what a king is, what a warrior is, a magician and lover, and how they morph into various other things. You know, they're not just fixed, but they're cardinal, like the zodiac has the cardinal signs. The king is pretty cardinal, even though it could represent other figures. The great thing about the work that I do, and I want to really dig deeper into in this group, is the fact that the masculine penetrates into the universe, and women, but into the universe, I think, is more important for you to understand how much higher you can go within yourself. All these things, all these ideas, all these feelings that you've had over the course of your whole entire life, they mean something. And you'll be surprised that the experiences mean less. The experiences impact you and some ways deflect you into different directions, but your thoughts, your feelings, your dreams, your ideas that come to you, those are all unique to you. And your ability to multiply that by knowing yourself and connecting yourself to the universe, and then later connecting yourself to a woman, because that's where you get to reprint yourself. This is high science. That's all it is. It's high science that hasn't been taught but to a few selected. So, we take these ideas and we transform them and we go higher and we understand what the masculine is, because there are ancient systems and cosmology that these archetypes are founded in. And the ultimate thing is, you must know yourself as a man. You got to know yourself, because the ultimate union and the highest level of masculinity is the male who has prepared himself well enough to be united with the feminine. And he has to be so squarely in his masculine that the unification with the feminine creates a level of precedence, takes him to a higher level, completes him. And so, no matter how much you hear me talk about masculinity and all these different things, this is my concept of it. We get there. You got guys that talk about never being with women. I'm not one of them. I like women. I love them. I want to be with them all the time. I just have to be more disciplined about my approach these last few years, so I don't get to sleep with everybody that I want to sleep with anymore. But I would like to do that, and I know that if I do it now, it would be reckless. And so until you've built your masculinity to the point where it is a self-sustaining thing, it is not in doubt, it's not questioned, that's when, only after then, you need to be entertaining the feminine. So we are going to talk about the warrior archetype, and the warrior archetype is, as you see here, this is the imagery of war. And we know this because we've got friends who bought into this stuff and went and joined the army. Some made it back home okay, some made it back home effed up, and some didn't make it back home at all. And this has a lot to do with this warrior consciousness that we're so common. We see it everywhere. It's all in the movies. It's all in the video games. It's everywhere. The instinct or the nature that you must subdue someone else or kill something or shoot something. That's the warrior energy, and it's over the top. It's over the top, and it's used incorrectly. But ironically, the same warrior energy that you see out here in the media and everywhere so much, this level of it represents masculinity. And there are many men, many men who need this warrior energy, need to grab a hold of it, need to learn how to use it. Even if you're a poet or an artist, which we probably will consider you as a lover, in the scope of the archetypes, you will need to know how to access the warrior within yourself and know how to use it to accomplish your endeavors, your purpose, to be specific. Here's a quote from the book, King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. I love this one because it really does help you understand what the warrior energy is. It says the warrior energy is concerned with skill, power, and accuracy, but with control, both inner and outer, psychological and physical. The warrior energy is concerned with training and actions. The warrior's actions are never overdone, never dramatic for the sake of drama. The warrior never spends more energy than he absolutely has to, and he doesn't talk too much. Now, you can see this if you've watched any war movies. You always have, the stealth warrior who doesn't talk as much but is very accurate. The sniper guy, I know you guys remember that movie. He seemed like a perplexed individual, and it may be the case because the mentality of a warrior is, like this says, about accuracy and control. It's about skill, it's about power, it's about knowing when, timing, alertness, awareness. The warrior is what we use to come online. I don't care what archetype you consider yourself to be. The warrior is what you use to pull yourself up, and the warrior has many great positive attributes. And one, of course, that I consider to be very important is that the warrior is purpose driven. So warriors don't, good warriors at least, don't go out on bum missions that don't have a purpose. And when you're purpose driven, you understand that your purpose is here to also be fuel for what you need to get done in your life and how you're going to impact others. The warrior is also tactical, means that he's good with his hands. He knows how to move in and out of situations. He's the type of person that you can trust to get the practical things done, and that means he's also skillful. The warrior is not just necessarily the skillful guy with a knife or a gun or a blade or what have you. Could be skillful at applying algorithm to computer systems. It's the same kind of attribute. It's a story that says that many of who would be traditionally samurai warriors are now scattered throughout Japan's corporate infrastructure, and they apply many of the same principles of samurai lifestyle into business. And so you've seen that they've been able to build Tokyo and build an economy over the last 30 years with these men applying the warrior energy in the right place, skillfully, learning what they needed to learn in order to apply this energy. They didn't get rid of these guys. Do you understand? They didn't get rid of these guys. These guys adapted with time and transformed, much like many warriors, or what you consider to be warriors transformed into farmers over the last few hundred years as the world changed. So he's skillful, and one of the perhaps the quintessential aspect of the warrior is that the warrior is loyal. He has a loyalty to something higher and greater than himself. That is the epitome of being a warrior, because you know why you're fighting. That purpose has, there's individual purpose in most cases, but the warrior is not necessarily the individualistic person. The warrior is more like the person who is loyal to the plan, to the nation, to the leader. The warrior knows what he's here to do, especially if he has been given directive from the leader, from those who he is loyal to. And you will see this tactic or this attribute in many men who are loyal to the church, or loyal to their alma mater, or to their fraternity, or to their lodge, or to their community, whatever. You will have people, men in specific, who are loyal, and this is an attribute you will find in the warrior. The warrior needs to be committed to something a little higher than himself, even though in the evolutionary perspective that I speak of, we're gonna go from more than just ourselves, but to everything that we do. The warrior is also decisive, and it's very important. And because many men, including myself in the past, and now sometimes, I face issues making decisions. You have to be able to access attributes of these different archetypes. Know when you need to snap into your warrior mode to make this decision, and stop lingering and stop being emotional about it. You have to be able to summon the warrior within you. The warrior is also the destroyer, and of course he's the destroyer because nobody else is going to do it. The king, he may have gone through a warrior stage where he destroyed things, but if he's in his king level, he's not going to go out there and do the dirty work like that. The warrior is who does the dirty work, who burns down the city, who kills the men and buries the body. These are the warriors, and we know who they are from this perspective, but they're also the perspective, the part that makes a warrior destroyer also has a positive attribute, and that's that when the warrior stands up and fight for what is right, when he fights for what is absolutely right, he can destroy what is adversary to the people. So basically he can destroy evil, and it's not just he, but the energy of the warrior and the warriors. So the warrior can be a very positive destroyer, but on the other hand, as we've seen, it's often on the negative side where the soldiers and the warriors and the people underneath this energy field, they come in and they mess stuff up. These thug characters that come into your community, that are raised into your community, they think they're warriors. They're not warriors, but they pose like that, and they use the destroyer energy, and they mess things up the bad way. They mess people up. They mess. You've seen what these gangs can do to these boys. You've seen what these militias can do to these young children. The destroyer energy is strong. It's very, very strong. And that's why it's so important for anyone who's fixed into this archetype to be very, very balanced, because you do have the power, once in this state of being, to be very, very destructive. And the warrior, of course, is also mutable. And a lot of guys, they pridefully want to remain fixed, and you shouldn't. What you thought was good for you 10 years ago is no longer good for you. You have to move on. And likewise, when you have to call warrior energy at some point, because let's say you move to a new city, a new town, and it's boring, and all you do is go to work every day, and after a while, warrior energy is what it's going to take for you to get up, go to a speaking engagement, what do they call it, Toastmaster or Rotary Club. It's gonna be the warrior energy that challenges you to do something that takes you out of your comfort zone. It's not gonna be any other energy. The warrior is the one that is disciplined and gives you the better chance and opportunity to change with things, because things are never going to be perfect. So you got to adjust. You have to adjust. You may have gone into war with a big old sword, and it got knocked out of your hand, and all you have left are stones. You got to be able to be willing to fight. And another huge aspect of the warrior, and some will say, why is this positive? But it is positive. Being emotionally unattached is positive, because guess what? The majority of the world is, we are emotionally attached to whatever it is that we're emotionally attached. The warrior, when a man is in his warrior archetype, when someone is in their warrior archetype, they can detach themselves at a rate that others can't. You can find yourself, when you're in warrior mode, you can say F what everyone would say, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's doing that. But that's a combination of what it takes to actually do certain things that others won't. That's why the warriors are here. The guys who are part of these organizations like gangs and whatnot, the stuff that they've got to do, man, they don't sleep at night. They don't sleep at night. These are not real warriors anyway, so they're as emotionally unattached as they may appear to be. They're very attached. But the warrior, the warrior in his fullness, even though he will be someone with compassion, when it's time to do what he has to do in the name of what he has to do it for, he's got to detach these emotions and get it done. Off with that head, if that's what it's called to be. So the warrior in his fullness is this person, who is who's always there for everyone. He's this guy who's practical, skillful. He can be anyone. I'm not saying that he always has to be a fighter. The warrior energy is an energy that is like a spark plug that gets stuff done, that helps you move from one place to the next. The warrior energy inside of you is what makes everyone around you feel comfortable. Women and children need to know that the warrior energy in their father will keep them safe. And this should be innate. So this is a part of the fullness of the warrior. But the warrior also has his dark sides. And in his fullness, he'll still have a bipolar shadow. That's what they call it in the book, King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, of the sadist and the masochist. And the sadist is, you've seen this guy before, very, very cruel, even to those most vulnerable, who hates the weak. And I've been one of those guys who hated the weak, because I grew up around so many strong people. But I've changed that. I've changed that because in every aspect of how you look at the weak, everything that you've ever read says to protect the weak. So if you can observably see the weak and be cruel to the weak, then something is off, and then you're operating in a shadow aspect. And the shadow is the dark side, and sometimes people can get stuck there. And of course, the masochist is a man possessed. He's the worst, because he pities himself. He feels he's powerless, even when he isn't powerless. And the masochist will make decisions that undermine other people, because he's looking for what he feels he doesn't have, but he probably already does have it. And the other side of the full warrior is the hero. And we see these guys all the time. And 3-6 Mafia told us many years ago, don't save her, she don't want to be saved. And the hero will try to save not just a woman, but but a situation that he can't even control, but he feels as if it's his job to intercede and try to save or be the hero in a situation, and it doesn't turn out so good, and he ends up on the other side of the fence. The hero is who you don't want to be, because the hero, his shadows are the bully. Sometimes guys bully other people just to be seen as some kind of hero. And then of course the coward, he wants to be a hero and step up, but he doesn't have it. Doesn't have what it takes to step up. The warrior has what it takes to step up, not the hero. And this blog that I frequent, called The Art of Manliness, says, unlike the mature warrior who fights and battles for a cause bigger than himself, the immature hero fights and battles mainly for himself. And you can see that all the time. I have a chapter in my book about Mr. Unintentional. You start off with all these great ideas, these heroic ideas for others, and in reality, it's really just for yourself. And I think many men have been there already, but the hero is who you don't want to play. And hats off to you if you can play the hero successfully. But in many cases, it's not the hero in your life that gets you to the next level. It's the warrior, because the hero is only gonna make certain. He's only gonna make certain wins for you. You're gonna be a hero here and there, maybe when you have children, but the warrior is who's gonna get you those wins, those W's. So accessing the warrior, I think, is a big thing, because many men haven't had the opportunity to step to their edge and really command the warrior energy. Perhaps if you were raised by single parents or a single mother, you didn't have a firm, authoritative male figure in your life. You may want to really cultivate the warrior in you, cultivate your voice, cultivate your strength. So many different things that you can do, like becoming more mindful and self-aware. That's a big one, because mindfulness is training your mind, and that is a warrior discipline. To set up routines for yourself, to understand what you're doing, why you're doing it. The first place that you should always look is within yourself, but taking the time to continuously do it, that's discipline, and that's a warrior attribute. Approaching your edge is a big one that many men need to really do. You need to figure out how far you're willing to go. Are you okay with dying today? Do you and that's a big one. And a lot of people are still stuck in that phase in their life where they're pitying themselves if they died. uh, you can fix your life tomorrow to make sure that if you died, then you'll be okay. No matter where you are in your life, you have to be okay with this part of the cycle. And I think it's a big one, very, very big one. One of the ways you can help approach your edge is picking up martial arts. I think that's a big one for many men who never really had that physical, especially if you were an only child, you didn't have anybody to beat you up. That's a big one. Martial arts is great. I actually just had a real good talk with a buddy of mine who owns a jujitsu school, owns jujitsu schools, and talks about a lot of the guys, the men, and that come there and why they come there, and it's very interesting. And it is most of them to embrace that warrior energy. Some people are off, but it's to do that. Energy healing is a big one too, and I'll talk a lot more about this in the Purposeful Manhood group. Working on your strength is a big one. I think that when you look back at your life, you should look back at everything, but really look back and figure out what you're good at and work on that. There are biographies out there about great warriors. Watch some war movies. Read Sun Tzu's book, The Art of War. There are great movies out there about war that can teach you a few things, bring you into that essence a little bit. Just fight put your mind in a space where what would you do if you were in this situation. Becoming a student to a master is a big one. Many of us are struggling to find people we look up to well enough that we want to be like. So master might be a book or a program or a course or some training. Your ability to follow a discipline actually does work on your warrior energy, does strengthen you. Nourishing your masculinity is a big one, and in the group I'll definitely be talking about this more, the health aspects, and bringing classes specifically on this, because men need to have a male nourishing concept. You need to understand what damages your masculinity in food, air, water, and you need to understand the properties of the food that you need to consume that enhances your metabolism, not your metabolism, but your masculinity. Your whole male endocrine system is different, not vastly different from a woman's, but different in enough where there are specific foods, the specific compounds that help to nourish you as a man, and you need them in your life, and many of us are not getting them. So the group is really all about talking about these aspects and bringing them to you, and giving you options, and as well as making some available to you. And most importantly, this is something that is a part of being a part of the Purposeful Manhood group and making your master plan. It's it is the thing that you can use your discipline to get you through on the plan, because nobody creates a one-page plan or two bullets. You have to think from where you are now to where you need to be, and the group is really about helping you plot that plan out and take the execution steps that's necessary to help you accomplish it. It's really no life outside of doing what you're supposed to do. I believe I can't promote that. You know, if you feel whatever it is that you're doing is right for you, that's that's important. But to live a life that's not according to what you want and you desire, that's crazy. You know, your evolution is continuous. I want you guys to get familiar with images like these, understanding that we are here to do great things, and it starts with an understanding of self. It really doesn't end any particular way. You know, your archetype might be fixed. If you've read the book, you might know assuredly that you're a king, or you might know assuredly that you're a lover or a magician, or a warrior, or you just may be going through a stage in your life where that is the energy that you need to command. And I know personally from my warrior stage, when I was fighting against everything and everyone for whatever reason, and I think you do the more fighting with others when you don't know what it is that you're fighting for. So when you're a little confused, you'll start fires here and there when you're in your warrior mode. And I remember doing a lot of that, because that's what warriors do in some cases, when not the positive side, but when you're young and you're somewhat out of control and you feel as if you're on this charge, but you don't quite know where to go, what to do, how even though you think you know, or even though you've been told what to do, you will start some fires. You'll have some conflicts. And understanding your body, understanding yourself, understanding your mind, your heart, your spleen, your root, you know, all these different aspects of personal evolution is important. But it's the warrior archetype who gets you started, who kicks your butt and enrolls you in this program, who tells you that you need to work out every day, who challenges you to go to the gym. The warrior archetype is like the spark plug. You know, so more than anything, I think that everything that I bring to you guys is leading towards an understanding of self, and you really just got to know where you are in your own personal growth cycle. It's just a lot of yous, a lot of I's in this process. This is why this process is not the best process to be in when you're in relationships, or relationships is best for you not to be in relationships when you're in this process. When you tell, you know, I'm gonna tell you, you means your own universe. You tell that to somebody else in a relationship, they're gonna call you a selfish mofo. But you have to be able to go into this selfish mode that requires, more than anything else, the warrior's energy of self-discipline, so that way you can learn what you need to learn. That way you can figure out the kinks. Like I said, stop focusing on the weaknesses and focusing on the strengths. You know, the discipline to build onto what the strengths are, so that way you can get better. This is your universe. Like I said earlier, the masculine penetrates the universe, penetrates women too. So when you build yourself to the point where you can, you are sure about who you are, you're sure about the connections that you're making for yourself, you are sure about everything, you can die tomorrow and feel okay. You know, once you've gotten to this point and create union with women, it's magical, the different things that you can do. But one of the other reasons why the culture today is so fixated on warrior energy is because warrior energy is the currency of the day. People working for others, lots of energy being exuded for others, for the benefit of others. And the warriors are the ones that are getting played these days, and their energies are being used differently, even though they're not fighting as much. But you got to be able to come out of the traps that are set for you, because they're traps set to keep you in warrior mode for the rest of your life, even if you're not. They're warrior mode sometimes self-destruct faster than anyone else, because a lot of people are not capable of putting up or even understanding what it takes to be like this. So, these are just some of the classes that I'll be bringing, guys. This is serious. It's a different platform, very similar to what we do in the Wisdom Hut, just a lot deeper. I'll be bringing one master class every month, and we'll be just spitting out content. You'll be setting your plans, figuring, connecting you to different services to help you find yourself, find your universal self, find your blueprint, and learning, studying like stuff like this. I believe it's essential. It's essential to know about the different phases of manhood that you go through, understanding what mature masculinity is, and figuring out what it looks like on you. So this is the purposeful manhood. This is for the Wisdom Hut guys, and I want to know what you think. I want to get some feedback from you. How much studying have you done on the masculine archetypes? And where are you right now? Are you transversing through the archetypes, or are you one fixed archetype at this particular moment? This is Nakata, of course. Let's have a conversation and let me know what you think, and let me know if you're interested or have any more questions about the Purposeful Manhood group.